Do not seek justice, seek advantage. The world has always admired the strong, yet the world also destroys them. Strength is attractive because it holds an order that the weak lack. But the one who dares to be strong becomes a threat to a system founded on fear. People demand justice, but hate those who act without permission. They talk about morality, but bow before power. Strength is always solitary because it has no need for opinions. The world confuses strength with loudness. People are accustomed to considering the strong person to be the one who speaks the loudest, who demonstrates confidence, who fills the space. But Machiavelli's strength is not in noise, but in silence. Not in screaming, but in the ability to stand firm when everything collapses. A strong person doesn't need admiration. He doesn't need to be loved. He simply does what he must, without asking if it will be understood. Machiavelli said, "Power is not for one who seeks love, but for one who is ready for hatred." It's a cruel formula, but it describes the very essence of inner strength. To be strong means knowing how to be misunderstood, how to endure loneliness. Because where the crowd ends, power begins. Strength is not about confidence. Strength is about clarity. Confidence is an emotion. Clarity is a system. A confident person can collapse when circumstances change. A clear person, never. Because clarity doesn't depend on mood. It is born from discipline. Machiavelli knew order inside is always stronger than chaos outside. A strong person doesn't save the world. He simply holds the line. He doesn't explain why he acts the way he does. He doesn't waste energy on justifications. He acts. And by this, he changes the space. People feel such individuals intuitively. They may not believe him, but they cannot help but fall silent before him. Because where there is inner authority, the need to prove oneself disappears. Explanation is a request for acceptance. The strong person doesn't ask. He knows that any word spoken in justification gives away a part of one's power. Power is concentration. Every time you explain, you give away some energy. Machiavelli wrote, "People judge by results. They are not interested in what you felt. They care about what you did." A strong person acts without warning. He doesn't seek agreement. He chooses the moment and the step. He doesn't build long speeches about plans because he knows the more words, the less movement. He acts and then allows the world to catch up. Power doesn't need loud announcements. It manifests in consequences. Inner action is also action. Restraint is a form of strength. Where others explode, the strong person observes. Where everyone justifies themselves, he is silent. Because strength is not the quantity of steps, but the quality of intention. If your step is clear, the world will start to adjust itself. Joint coldness is not the absence of feelings, but control over them. Machiavelli knew a hot heart makes mistakes. A leader who acts out of emotion loses power. The strong person knows how to be cold, not because he is indifferent, but because he doesn't want to be a plaything of others' passions. Coldness is a mirror. It reflects the chaos of others. When you maintain composure, you become the axis. The world revolves and you stand still. And then, even enemies begin to respect you, because they respect not aggression, but calm under pressure. Coldness requires training. People think that strength is a gene, but strength is the habit of remaining rational when the body calls for rage. Every time you suppress a reaction, you strengthen your power over yourself. Every time you don't enter into an argument, you save energy for real action. A cold person is not detached. He is precise. He sees clearer because he is not blinded by emotion. His decisions may not always be liked, but they are always correct, because they are based not on mood, but on calculation. Machiavelli said, "Victory belongs to the one who knows how to wait while others rush." To be cold means knowing how to manage time. Time is the main weapon of the strong. He doesn't succumb to the pressure of the moment. He chooses when to strike. He knows that a premature step destroys the strategy. Therefore, he waits. His silence is not weakness, it is preparation. When everyone is burning, he cools the space, and by this he controls. Power begins where words end. Machiavelli wrote, "The one who speaks less is always stronger, because silence creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is a form of control." People are afraid not of your voice, but of what they don't know you are thinking. Silence forces others to reveal themselves. They start talking more to fill the void, and in those words they give themselves away. The strong person listens. The strong person observes. He is not in a hurry to pass judgment. He gathers facts. Silence makes him invisible, and invisibility grants an advantage. The world today is built on shouting. Everyone wants to be heard. The strong person chooses the opposite, to be unpredictable. In an age of transparency, power returns to the one who can be a shadow. Silence is not passivity, it is a strategy. Machiavelli said, "Words oblige. As soon as you speak, you create an expectation, and expectation is a hook on which you can be pulled. Silence liberates. When you don't promise, you are not dependent. When you don't explain, you don't owe. When you don't say too much, you leave no target for attack. Silence is the art of endurance. It is born from inner confidence. The one who is silent trusts time, because he knows everything will reveal itself. Machiavelli understood, the one who makes noise does not win, but the one who watches while others tire. A strong person speaks only when words change the balance of power. Everything else is a luxury on which he doesn't waste attention. His speech is rare, but weighty. One word is capable of stopping movement, because behind that word stands the discipline of silence. Silence is not a refusal of communication, it is a choice not to cheapen meaning. Words cheapen when there are many of them. Strength becomes more valuable when there is little of it. Therefore, the strong person speaks rarely, but pointedly. His silence speaks louder than others' monologues. Power is always quiet. True confidence does not need noise, and the quieter a person becomes, the stronger his presence. This is Machiavelli's law. Power is the energy of attention. He who controls attention controls reality. The strong person creates attention not with words, but with presence. He doesn't argue, doesn't impose, doesn't persuade. He simply is. And that is enough for everything around to begin to change. His silence disciplines others. His calmness sets boundaries. His lack of reaction shows where the game ends. Silence requires inner strength because it is an act of self-trust. Only the one who is confident in his rightness can afford not to speak. The weak person argues. The strong person acts. Silence is a strategy, not a weakness. In a world where every word turns into a weapon, silence becomes a shield. It protects not from attack, but from redundancy. Where others lose power in arguments, the strong person remains an observer, and by this, he controls the situation. Fear is the most honest of advisors. It doesn't lie. It shows where you lose power over yourself. But most people either hide from fear or allow it to rule them. The first live in an illusion of safety, the second in eternal flight. The strong person chooses the third, to walk towards fear, to take back the energy it holds. Machiavelli wrote that fear is a tool of power. It can be managed if one understands its nature. Fear is born from uncertainty. When a person doesn't know what will happen, he loses control. The strong person doesn't demand certainty. He endures the unknown, because he knows reality is not an enemy, but a space for strategy. Fear is the entrance to the growth zone. Every time you step into where it's scary, you expand the boundaries of what's possible. People seek comfort, but comfort is a trap. Machiavelli knew power is not born in comfort, it is born in crisis. Fear is a marker that you are on the right path. But there is a fine line. Fear cannot be denied. The one who says, "I'm not afraid of anything," is already lying. Because denied fear becomes a shadow. It returns through the body. Irritation, helplessness. The strong person doesn't deny. He acknowledges. He tells himself, "Yes, I'm afraid, but I go forward." Acknowledging fear makes it an ally. To respect fear is to know its language. Fear has no logic, it has a body. The heart beats faster, the breath catches, the muscles tighten. This is not an enemy, it is energy that can be directed. Machiavelli wrote that fear is a great motivation if one doesn't run from it. When you use fear, it becomes discipline. The strong person doesn't look for places where it's not scary. He looks for places where fear points the way. He understands that where the inner voice trembles, that is precisely the zone of strength. He goes where most retreat, because he knows power is the ability to act under pressure. Fear is a reminder that you are alive, and if you don't allow it to paralyze you, it will become fuel. Machiavelli taught the best way to conquer fear is to manage it through action. As long as you stand still, fear grows. When you move, it dissolves. The strong person does not submit to fear, but he also does not suppress it. He uses it as a signal system. Fear hints at where the weakness is, and that is not a disgrace. It is a tool. To respect fear is to be honest with oneself. Justice is a beautiful idea, but in reality, it doesn't exist. The world is built on a balance of interests, not on ideals. Machiavelli knew the one who seeks justice will sooner or later face disappointment, because life is not a court, but a game of forces. And the one who wins is not the one who is right, but the one who is stable. The strong person doesn't seek for the world to be fair. He ensures that the world does not destroy his inner order. He understands you can't change everything, you can only align the axis inside. Justice is what you create within yourself when you stop demanding it from others. Machiavelli wrote, "People are more likely to forgive the death of a father than the loss of an inheritance." This means that justice is always subjective. Everyone considers fair what is advantageous to them. The strong person doesn't seek correctness, he seeks balance. He knows how to see the interests of all sides and move in a way that maintains control. Balance is not compromise. It is a state where you don't lean too far in any direction, where you can be soft without weakness and firm without cruelty. The strong person knows how to be both a lion and a fox. The lion maintains order, the fox avoids traps. Machiavelli taught, The one who knows how to be both is invincible. To create balance is to not depend on chaos. When everything collapses, the strong person collects. When everyone loses their head, he restores structure. His power is not in ruling others, but in not allowing the world to break his inner law. The strong person doesn't seek justice in relationships, in business, in life. He knows that justice is not a feeling, but a balance of forces. He sees who gives, who takes, who manipulates, who plays fair, and acts without falling into emotion. He doesn't wait to be understood. He does what is necessary, because he knows truth is not in morality, but in results. Machiavelli said, "Power is not in fairness, but in clarity." When you see everything as it is, you no longer need to judge. You simply act, and the world itself aligns around your center. But strength requires caution. Everyone who has known power over themselves will sooner or later face the temptation to use it against others. This is a subtle moment. Machiavelli warned, "A ruler who has stopped doubting is already doomed." Likewise, a person confident in his infallibility becomes a prisoner of pride. Pride is the shadow of strength. It comes quietly. At first it seems like confidence, then calmness, then entitlement. And one day you start thinking you are above others. At that moment, strength becomes weakness, because you lose touch with reality. Machiavelli wrote, "The populace forgives cruelty but not arrogance, because arrogance destroys respect." The strong person maintains a balance between power and humility. He knows, strength without humanity is savageness, but humanity without strength is helplessness. He is not afraid to be cold, but he doesn't lose warmth. He knows how to see weakness in people, but does not despise it. He understands, strength is given, not for suppression, but for direction. Machiavelli believed, the best ruler is the one who knows how to be flexible. The same is true for a person. True strength is the ability to be fluid without breaking. Hard wood breaks in the wind. Flexible wood survives. The strong person adapts, but does not change his essence. He can retreat if necessary, but does not surrender internally. When you stop seeking justice, you become free. You no longer spend energy fighting the world. You begin to create order from within. This is what power is, being the center of your own system. Strength is a form of love for truth, because only the one who is ready to look at reality without illusions is capable of managing himself. Machiavelli taught, to see the world as it is, not as one would like it to be, is the first step to wisdom. The strong person does not run from chaos. He brings structure to it. He doesn't save others. He becomes an example. People are drawn to the one who doesn't hesitate, and not because he is omnipotent, but because he possesses inner peace. Power is neither noise nor titles. It is the ability to remain unchanged when everything around demands a reaction. Machiavelli understood, the strong person does not have to be kind, but he must be just within himself. This is the balance. The strong person lives without unnecessary promises. He speaks little, but acts. He doesn't spend energy on proofs, doesn't interfere in trivial matters, doesn't destroy himself with the fight for recognition. His strength is quiet, and that is why it is insurmountable. When you stop seeking justice, you stop being a victim. You become a source. This is the moment when strength ceases to be a reaction and becomes a state. Machiavelli would say, power is when the world changes in response to your presence, not your words. The strong person lives exactly like this. He doesn't seek change, he becomes it. A strong person is not born one, he becomes one. Every day, when he chooses clarity over chaos, coldness over panic, silence over fuss, strength is not a victory, it is the habit of maintaining inner order. Machiavelli would say, the one who has learned to rule himself already rules the world. If these words resonate, subscribe to the channel. Let the truth about strength reach those who are tired of being correct and weak. If you recognize yourself, write in the comments, I choose strength without noise. If you feel that silence is your power, write, my silence is my order. Let us become more numerous. This is only the beginning.